Start the recording.
Yes, wait a minute. The start recording. Okay. So whether this PPT is visible to you, hierarchical clustering?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So in the last class, we have been discussing about certain classifiers. I hope if you remember, we have seen about naive-based classifier. Okay. So it is basically a probabilistic based classifier where the prior knowledge about the classes will be trained and it will be tested. Okay, so that is what naive based classifier is. It is purely a probabilistic based classifier. The class which will obtain the highest probability, okay, will be marked as the class. For example, a text or image or audio or video, whatever it may be. Okay, the class which has the highest probability, the particular data will be classified into such a label. That is naive-based classifier. And even we have seen about k-means clustering in our lab class. If you have remember, k-means clustering we have seen. So there will be certain centroids will be there. We will take certain, we'll start with seed values as centroids, and we will calculate the distance between those centroids and the data points that we do have. And the distance with the shortest um, distance that do we have with the seed point and the data point will be bent into the same cluster. And similarly, we will do for all the data points and we will recalculate the centroids. Okay. And we will keep on doing this until all the data points are being getting laid into certain clusters. And that is basically an unsupervised way of clustering. Okay. So with these ideas as prior knowledge, we will go into a new type of machine learning algorithm. Okay, it is not supervised; it is purely unsupervised. Okay, what is the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning? Okay, so during the way of classification, okay, we will say it as supervised learning, which means that we will have two different process. One is testing and training. Okay. Initially, we will do with training the data set. Okay. So if we are giving prior knowledge, okay, if your model is able to learn, okay, based upon the training data sets. Okay, during the training phase, if your machine learning model can able to learn something, okay, that is called as supervised learning. Okay, that is a supervised model. Okay, for example, if this is going to be the shape. If I'm going to train, this is the shape of a ball. Okay, so this is going to be triangle. This is going to be rectangle. Okay, this is going to be a ball which is in red color. So these are all the ways you can train your model. For example, if I'm showing an image to the model that you have developed that can classify the shape or color, okay, during that training phase, you will give enough knowledge to that particular model so that it can understand, it can learn, okay, what is the color, what is the shape, everything will be learned during the training phase. Okay, so obviously when you are going to deploy your machine learning model, okay, during that phase you will be performing testing. Okay, so we have already in the first initial phase, we have trained our model. Now our process is to test the model. Okay, So now if I'm going to give it a green color ball, okay, so it should, your model should able to identify the color and the shape of the particular ball, okay, based upon the prior knowledge it obtained during the training phase. Okay, so this is the basic idea behind the machine learning model. Here you are training the model, right? You are supervising that. You are saying you are making the model to learn that. Okay, so if you find it in this color, this is a green color, this is a red color. Okay, that is called as supervised learning. Okay, during the training phase itself, you will be you will be giving maximum amount of knowledge which is required for the model, okay, to classify. Okay, that is called as supervised machine learning model. Okay, so now if we are not going to give any prior learning or training to your model, okay, then it is called as unsupervised. Okay, so now in this particular clustering, okay, this is purely unsupervised. Okay, there is no prior knowledge given to your model. Okay, so in cases like K means clustering, K center clustering, and then this type of hierarchical clustering that we are going to see for today's class. Okay, all these clustering based algorithms, every clustering based algorithms are purely unsupervised. Okay, which means there is no training data or training phase will not be available in this learning model. Anyhow, it is going to perform some labeling, it is going to do some classification, it is going to group some data points, okay, but there is no training phase at all. Okay, that is the main difference that you need to know, okay, before learning into this clustering. Okay, so if you're looking, even we have some unsupervised classification is also there. What does it mean? There won't be any training phase will be available in the model. Okay, so whenever there is a model which is going to undergo a testing and training phase, then it is purely a supervised machine learning model. Whereas, in the other hand, if we do not have the testing and training phase, then it is the unsupervised model. Okay, so now we will go for a type of unsupervised model that is called as hierarchical clustering. Okay, so now here we are going to look into the data points. Okay, so we will have a data point over here. Okay, and then we will have several data points which are going to get grouped and we are going to cluster them. Okay, so our task is to identify the data points, and these data points are going to get assigned to each clusters. Okay, and then we are going to combine them into a group of cluster based upon the similarity and distance between those data points. We are going to do the clustering. Okay, so what is hierarchical clustering? Okay, so initially we will have some data points. I have data point A is a data point, B is a data point, C is going to be the data point. Okay, and then D is going to be the data point. So these are all the data points that I'm going to consider for performing clustering. Okay, so initially what this hierarchical clustering will start with certain assumptions. Okay, so initially it will assign each data points. Okay, I have data point A, B, C, D. Okay, each data points will be assigned to separate clusters. Okay, so this A is going to be in cluster C1. Okay, B is going to be in cluster C2. Okay, C is going to be in cluster C3 and D is going to be in cluster C4. Okay, so this is the initial process this hierarchical clustering will do. Now, the next step is it will find the distance between the clusters. Okay, cluster C1 to C2, C1 to C3, C1 to C4. It will find out the distance. Okay. Based on the distance similarity between the clusters, okay, hierarchical clustering will combine the most similar clusters together. Okay. Now, if I look into this example, C1 and C2 are going to be available in certain distance. Okay. The next point I will combine C1, C2 and C3. I will combine these three. And after some point, all the clusters will be combined together into one single cluster C1. Okay. So I will tell you how it will perform the distance. Distance is nothing but some Euclidean distance, like Manhattan distance that we have seen in K-means clustering. It will find out the similarity based upon the distance. Okay. So the distance which is going to be the minimal between any two clusters will be combined into one single cluster, and it will be processing this until the entire points are going to get grouped into one single cluster. Do you understand? So I had cluster C1, C2, C3, C4. It is nothing but each data point is a cluster here. Okay. And later we have a concept of finding the distance between the clusters. Okay. So if I do have clusters like this, C1 and C2 are grouped into one cluster, and C1, C2, C3 is grouped, and C1, C2, C4 is grouped. So in this way, I'm going to combine the most similar clusters together based upon the distance. Okay. And I will repeat until only one single cluster should be left. Okay. At last, I will have only one single cluster C1. This is called as hierarchical clustering. So how to implement this, I will tell you. Okay. So usually we will have this clustering concept, okay, by making use of a visualization technique called as dendrogram. Okay, dendrogram. So what is this dendrogram? It is a tree-like diagram which will represent to produce the set of nested clusters in a form of a hierarchical tree. Okay, I hope this slide is visible to you. If you look over here, I have cluster point 1, 3, 2, 5, 4, 6. So these are all the data points which are available. You see over here, the first cluster which is having very less distance, which is very near to each other, is 1 and 3. Okay. So we will draw a diagram like 1 and 3. Okay, 1 and 3 will be combined. You see what are the next data point which is very close to each other. Okay, for example, I'm saying here 1, 3 and then 2, 5. Am I right? I'm just using this 2, 5. You see this particular point 2, 5. So 2 and 5 will be there. So your dendrogram will be an axis of x and y, where x is going to be the data points which are going to be clustered, and this y is going to be the distance between the data points. Between 1 and 3, the distance will be 0.05. Between 2 and 5, the distance is 0.1. Between 2, 5 and 4, the distance is going to be 0.17, something like that. Okay. So this is how you can visualize the hierarchical clustering using a concept of dendrogram representation. Okay. So you see here 2 and 5 is there, and then 2, 5, 4. You see I have another third point which is nearer to this cluster, 2, 5, 4. Okay. So 2, 5 is already there. I'm just adding 4 over here. So this is called as dendrogram. And then 2, 5, 4, 6 is there. I have 6. Another data point 6 is also available, which can be clustered together. So it has been added along with this. Already this particular 4 is combined with what? 1 and 3. So this is how you have to come up with the dendrogram. Okay, so this is nothing but a nested of clusters, okay, which are going to get grouped into one single cluster. See, there is this nested cluster. That is the um, main concept of this hierarchy clustering. So it will be like a set, okay? So between this cluster, I have another cluster, I have another cluster. So in this way, there will be a nested of cluster that is called as hierarchical clustering. So this is going to be C1 and then C2 and then C3. In this way, you will be having it will produce a nesting of cluster. I will show some example, we will solve some problems so that you can understand much deeper, okay? So what is the strength of this hierarchical clustering? Okay, there is no prior knowledge about this, which means it is purely unsupervised. Okay, that is the strength of hierarchical clustering. There is no assumptions on the number of clusters. We don't know any prior idea about how many clusters will be formed because of this. Okay, but you can ask me a question how to find out the clusters. Okay, there is a process called as cutting the dendrogram. Okay, so you need to cut the dendrogram in a proper level in order to identify the desired number of clusters. So how to cut the dendrogram? Okay, the next thing is we will make use of this dendrogram in several applications, okay, especially in terms of biological sciences, in webs for categorizing the products. For several applications, you can make use of this hierarchical clustering. Okay, you see over here in this example, what are all the clusters which can be identified? Okay, so if I do have a process called as cut, okay, I have to cut this particular dendrogram so that I can identify the clusters. Okay, I can identify clusters like, okay, 1, 3 can be a cluster. Am I right? 1, 3 can be a cluster, and then 2, 5, 4 can be a cluster. 5 can be a cluster, and then we can have like 6 can also be a cluster. Okay, so you have to appropriately cut this dendrogram. You have to cut like this. You have to cut like this so that the data points which are falling inside this dendrogram sequence can be identified as a cluster. Okay, so in this case, I can say certain examples like 1, 3. This can be identified as one cluster. 2, 5, 4, 6 can be identified as a cluster. Because obviously this is also coming, this dendrogram is getting centered, this dendrogram is getting centered. Okay, what about this? In this case, you will be missing the value of 6. So 6 will be formed as separate cluster. So it is very obvious that you have to cut the dendrogram properly in order to identify and find out the clusters properly. Okay, so we'll see some examples with this cutting this dendrogram. Before looking into this dendrogram using this hierarchical clustering, we have two different methods. One is this hierarchical clustering will be divided into two different types. Okay, the hierarchy can go from bottom to top. That is called as agglomerative method. Okay, the same clustering can be done from top to bottom. That is called as divisive method. Okay, so if I have certain data points over here, okay, if I'm going to cluster it from top to bottom, okay, I'm going to make these data points to arrive separately, okay, from top to bottom, then it is called as divisive method. If I'm going to combine everything together from small data points into one single cluster, then it is called as agglomerative method. Okay, so what is this agglomerative method? Okay, you will start with the data point at individual clusters and you will merge until one single cluster has been left. That is called as agglomerative. Divisive means opposite of it. You will start from one inclusive cluster and you will start splitting up into small clusters until each data point is going to become one cluster. Okay, so this is basically out like merge or split one cluster at a time. That is the basic idea behind this hierarchical clustering. Okay, so now we'll see how to find out the similarity between the data points. Okay, so we have data points over like this, right? I have data point C1, I have data point C1, C2, C3, and everything is becoming a cluster. So how to find out the distance between these data points? How to find out the distance between these data points? That is the main problem of interest. Okay, so you can merge the data set or you can split the data set based upon the distance matrix. Okay, for every data point in hierarchical clustering, you have to find out the distance matrix, which means that you're going to find out the distance between the data points. Okay, so how to find out the distance matrix? Okay, in this agglomeratic clustering algorithm, I'll just show you an example. Okay, we have several distance matrices we can identify. Okay, you see over here. Just give me a minute. Okay, we'll start with a basic algorithm and I will tell you how the distance matrix can be computed. Okay, you see over here, you have to compute the distance matrix between every data points, and then you have to let each data point to be a cluster, and you're going to repeat merge the data point which has the very close distance and update the distance matrix. You have to do it until a single cluster is going to get formed. This is the algorithm of our agglomerative hierarchical clustering algorithm. Okay, so very simple. Every data point is going to be a part of a cluster. Okay, if A is the data point means it will be in a cluster C1. If B is the data point means it will be available in cluster C2. So every data point is going to be marked as one cluster, and the data points with the minimal distance, okay, which are very closest, will be formed into one single cluster, and you're going to update the distances, and you're going to repeat until all the data points are going to get merged into one single cluster. That is hierarchical clustering. Okay, so we'll see one simple example. Okay, we are going to have some student marks is going to be there, and their IDs are going to be available over here. Now the teacher of the particular class, okay, wants to segment them into certain groups, okay, and she doesn't have any prior knowledge about any student. Just student ID and mark is going to be available. Based upon this data, we are going to perform a hierarchical clustering. That means we are going to categorize the students. Okay, we are going to group them into several groups. Okay, which means here group is nothing but cluster. We are going to cluster the students based upon the marks that they have. Based upon the data points that we have, we are going to categorize the students. Okay, so how to do that? Okay, so now I have told you about distance matrix. Distance is nothing but proximity. In other terms, we will say it as a proximity matrix. It is nothing but the matrix will help us to identify and measure the distance between any data points in the given plane. Okay, so in a given plane, we have several data points, and if you want to know the distance between the data points, you will be making use of this distance matrix. Okay, so you see over here, based upon this data points, how to find out the distance matrix. Okay, how to form the distance matrix. Okay, it is very obvious that we will encounter several different types of data points. Okay, and we should find out appropriate distance calculation function in order to find out the distance. Okay, so here if you look into this example, okay, I am having student ID over here. Okay, student ID is going to be available, and then their marks are going to be available. Okay, so now how I can find out the distance between the students based on their marks. Okay, so for the given example, okay, student 1 is there. I have student up to 5 students are going to be available. Student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students are going to be available. Okay, the distance between the first student with the ID 1 and 1 is 0. Okay, 1 and 2. What is the mark of 1 and 2? You see over here, 10, 7, I'll just write it down here. 10, 7 we have, and then 28, 20, 35. 28, 20, 35. This is going to be the marks of the 5 students. So how to find out the distance? Okay. So the distance between 1 and 2 is, this is 1, this is 2. Okay, 1 and 2 is 10, 7. What is the distance between them? Just give the you can find out the, you can apply the Euclidean distance formula. Okay. So if you look over here, 10 square minus 7 square, 10 minus 7, the whole square. Okay, square root of 10 minus 7, the whole square, which is equal to 3. Okay, so you just find out 3. This might mark it as 3. 1 and 3. This 1, this is 3. Okay, so 10 and 28. The distance is 18. Okay, so 1 and 4, 10. 1 and 5. So in this way, you can derive the square matrix. Okay, so that you can find out the distance between the students based on their marks. Okay, so now we have identified the distance matrix. So this is the first step of our agglomerative clustering. Okay, so what is the first step? The first step is you're supposed to compute the distance matrix between the input data points. Okay, so based upon our data that we have in our hand, for 10, 7, 28, 20 and 35, the students that got, we have derived the distance matrix for this data set. Okay. The next step is you have to assign all the data points to individual cluster. Okay. We have 5 data points. Am I right? So we will have 5 different individual clusters. This is going to be cluster C1, C2, C3, C4, C5. So 5 individual clusters will be formed. If I do have 500 data points, 500 individual clusters will be there. Okay, so that is the drawback of hierarchical clustering. When your data set is going to be highly scalable, okay, if you have large number of data set, having 500 clusters and identifying the distance between 500 clusters is obviously a tedious process. Okay, so this hierarchical clustering will work fine for some limited number of data set. Okay, now we have 5 different clusters. Okay, just for our visualization, I'm just assigning to different colors for different clusters. Okay, the next step is, second step is find out you examine your distance matrix and look for the smallest distance in the given data point. Okay, if you're finding any 2 data points with the very smallest distance, you merge them because those 2 data points are very close to each other. Okay, so if you look into our distance matrix, okay, what is the smallest number? You don't tell 0 is the smallest number. 0 means which means the distance between them are 0, means they are the same. 1 and 1 is the same. 2 and 2 is the same. So obviously the diagonal matrix will be 0. You don't want to consider that. Okay. Any value which is non-zero, which is the smallest number. Okay. So which number is the smallest? Okay. If you identify here, 3 is going to be the smallest number. okay, in the given matrix. Okay. So 3 is the smallest number, which means that 1 and 2 are the two data points which are at the distance 3, which is the smallest distance among any other pair of distances the data points do have. Okay, so 1 comma 2 is going to be the pair of data points which are at the distance 3, which are closest to each other. Okay, so now what you will do, you will merge the points 1 and 2. Okay, so the data points 1 and 2 are going to get merged. Now I'm going to make the color of this data point as the color of the data point which is going to get merged. So this both will become into one cluster. This is the second step. Okay, very simple. You're finding the distance matrix and you're examining the distance matrix, and which distance is the smallest distance. The data point 1 and 2 is having the smallest distance. See over here. Okay. 1 and here 3, we have 3, 3. Okay, 1 and 2 and 2 and 1. Both have the smallest distance. Okay. So we are considering this particular data point and we are merging them. This is the second step. The next step is we have to update the distance matrix. Okay, so how you can update this distance matrix? Obviously we have 1 and 2 over here. Okay, you can take the maximum of the 2 points and replace the value for the particular cluster which is recently formed. Okay, so which is the data point that do we have? You see over here we have 7 and 10 is the 2 points which we have for 1 and 2. Am I right? 10 and 7. Okay, either you can take the average of it, or you take the data point, take the distance which is going to be the maximum. Okay, so I am having 10 over here. So I am just going back over here and I am updating here as 10. Okay, so we are going to update it with the value which is maximum among the two data points. One had 10 and the two had 7. Either I can take the maximum of it, or you can take the minimum of it, or you can take the average of it. But the thing is, you have to follow this particular updation process. Like if you're taking maximum, throughout the process, throughout the algorithm process, you have to make it as maximum. If you're going to take average, throughout the process, you have to make average for all the data points updation. Okay, so I'm here for our example. Okay, I'm going to make the maximum value as the updated value. So I'm going to update the clusters, and accordingly I'm going to update the distance matrix. So the distance I'm going to update with the maximum value is going to be the maximum distance between these two data points which is recently merged. Once again, what you have to do, you have to calculate the proximity matrix. That means distance matrix, again you have to compute. So now if you look over here, 1 and 3 will be the new data point. You got it? Which means 1 comma 2, which was initially which has been in a separate cluster. Now we have merged them as 1 comma 2. So 1 comma 2 itself is a cluster now. Itself is a data point now. Okay, so 1 comma 2 will be added, and 3, 4, 5. Again you recompute all the distances. Using the Euclidean distance, you compute it. Okay, now the next thing is you have to examine again. Okay, which data point is going to have the very smallest distance. Okay, which data point is having the smallest distance. If you look over here, we have 7 over here. We have 7 over here. 7 is going to be the next smallest number, which means 3 comma 5 and 5 comma 3. Both are going to be the same. Okay, 3 comma 5. I am identifying here as 3 comma 5 is the next distance which is smallest. What I am going to do now, I am going to merge them. 3 comma 5. Okay, see over here in this example, already 1 and 2 is merged. Now 3, 5 is getting merged. Okay. So after doing this 3, 5, okay, once again I will update those matrices. I think it is not shown over here. Okay. Once again I will update the distance matrix. Okay. You can even do it manually. You can do it manually. Okay. And in the next step, 3, 5 will be merged. See over here, 1, 2 is a data point now. Okay, 1, 2 is going to be one cluster. Okay. And 3, 5. 3, 5 means this has become one cluster. Okay. And then 1, 2 is there, initially formed. I hope you can understand this. And 3, 5 was the next data point. And what was the remaining data point which is left? 4 is the point. Am I right? Now, now we are identifying 1, 2, 4. You see over here, 1, 2, 4 is having the closest distance. Okay, so we are merging 1, 2, 4 as one cluster. Okay, and the next point 3, 5 is already existing. Okay, what is the remaining closest? Obviously, it will be 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. Everything will be formed into one single cluster. So this is how you have to process this hierarchical clustering using agglomerative method. So from individual data points, you are going to cluster them into one single cluster. Okay. So now our next important question is how to decide the number of clusters. Everything has been converted into one single cluster means what is the use of clustering? That will be the obvious question you will have in the mind. In the end of all the process, I will find one single cluster means why I have to do the cluster. We should know what are all the individual clustering groups that we have. Okay, there comes the process of dendrogram. Okay, so what you will do here means you will get the number of clusters by drawing a small line in the dendrogram. So how to do that? So we will have the samples over here. Your x-axis is going to be the data points and this is going to be the distances. So I'll just quickly go through this process. Okay. So what was the initial data points which is clustered? 1, 2. Am I right? So 1 and 2 will be included in our dendrogram sequence. Okay. So the distance will be obviously 3. So it is going to be the y-axis. Okay. You can ask me what is this? How to calculate the distance? It is 3. Obviously, we got it as 3, right? 10, 7. You find out the Euclidean distance between them, it will have 3. Okay. And then 3 and 5 is the next data point that we got. Okay. And 3, 5. And then 3, 5 is the next data point that we got. 3, 5. 1, 2. Okay. And the next data point that we are obtaining here is 1, 2, 1, 2 is 10, 3, 5 is 10, and then 1, 2, 4. Okay. So 1, 2, 4. So obviously 1 and 2 is already there. So you will draw this line. This line will come. And then the next thing is, what is the next data point that we are getting? Obviously, everything is going to get combined together into one single cluster, right? So 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. So everything will be clustered together. So now how to find out the clusters? How many clusters are going to be there? Okay. So we have to fix some threshold. Okay. So it will be done only it will be done by setting the threshold point. You will vertically cut your dendrogram. You will vertically cut the dendrogram. Okay, so that the more number of vertical lines that you draw over dendrogram, okay, you can find out the more number of clusters. Okay, you will horizontally you will draw a small line over the dendrogram, which will cut your dendrogram lines, okay, so that you can find out the clusters. Okay, if we look into this example, we will set the threshold value as 12. Okay, that means the distance is going to be 12. Even you can set it as 11 or 13 or 14. We should not go very with a very small value, because you will lose the clusters. Okay, so you have to appropriately set a threshold in such a way that it cuts the tallest vertical line. Which is the tallest vertical line in our dendrogram? Obviously, this point is going to be the tallest vertical line, okay, in our dendrogram. Okay, so you cut that particular dendrogram line horizontally. Now we have to examine what are all the clusters which we can identify. Okay, so I am just cutting the dendrogram over here. I'm cutting the dendrogram over here. So you examine how many data points are going to get identified. Okay, we will have two clusters. If I cut this particular dendrogram, I will have two clusters. Okay, one is going to be 1, 2, 4. Okay, because I'm just cutting this line so that this will become one cluster and this will become another cluster, which is 3, 5 is going to be another cluster. Okay, so if you are in case if I am cutting over here, what will happen? If I am cutting over here, I am just cutting over here. What will happen? This will become one cluster, this will become one cluster, and this will be preserved. At least this will be preserved. So 1, 2, 4 will be another cluster, 3, 5. So this will be your cluster point. Okay. So obviously, we are losing this 1, 2, 4 combination. That clustering point combination we are missing because we are choosing a wrong horizontal line, cut line we are making. Okay. So always have a cutting line over the dendrogram in such a way that it is going to cut the tallest dendrogram collection. Okay, so that you can find out some meaningful clusters. Okay, so this is how you have to perform this hierarchical clustering. When we are implementing this particular hierarchical clustering over this in Python, we can see these. There are 10 data points. I'm just taking. Okay, 10 data points are going to be there in the XY plane. I'm finding the distance between them, and I'm going to draw the dendrogram. You see over here, initially the data points 2, 3, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 5, and these are the data points which got clustered. If I cut this dendrogram over here, what will happen? This will become cluster C1, data point C1. This will become cluster C2. So obviously, when I look into our data point in our data point, what will happen here? You see here, this will become a cluster C1. This will become cluster C2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in cluster C1 in one cluster, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, everything is going to be in our cluster, another cluster. Okay, so this is how your hierarchical clustering will be working. Okay, so we'll have all these things are going to be like this. Okay, and the distance we have seen here, right, like proximity matrix. Okay, the distance between the two clusters, okay, is called as single link distance. Okay, the distance that we have between any one cluster point C1 and C2, the minimum distance that we will take, right, that is called as single link distance. Okay, which means that the Euclidean distance that we have, that we calculate between the data points, okay, that is called as single link distance, which is nothing but the minimum distance between any two cluster points. We have several distance points available. This is for single, that is what we have seen in our class. Okay. And we have complete link is there. Okay. Complete link distance means opposite of it. Maximum distance between the data points, if you are measuring and you are going to cluster them based upon the maximum distance that we have, that is called as complete link distance. So when you are implementing this particular process of this clustering, you see over here, we will mention here as linkage. I'll make use of this. Linkage is as, you see this particular line, linkage x comma single. Single means based upon minimum distance between the data points, you have to cluster. If you're going to give this particular thing as complete means based on the maximum distance between the data points, it will compute it. Okay. So even if we have time, we will implement the same in our lab. Okay. So I think I have given you the enough idea about what is hierarchical clustering, and we have seen about this agglomerative clustering over here with a small example. You should know how to compute the distance, how to update the distance, and how to cluster, merge the data points, and you should precisely know how to draw this dendrogram. Okay. So given certain data sets, like manually you can do this, and also you should know how to code this also. Okay, like a programming point of implementation also, you should have some idea. We'll see if possible in our lab. Okay, I hope you can understand this. If you have any doubts, dear students, kindly unmute yourself and you can ask.
Excuse me,
Yes.
ma'am. Could you repeat what you told for the complete link distance? Is it that maximum distance which we are updating at the end of forming a cluster?
Yes, based upon the maximum distance that we do have. Wait a minute, I'll just show. Whether the slide is visible to you, no? Yes, wait a minute.